What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Okay, so we've just had balance changes hit the game literally an hour ago. So we're going to be testing out some of these balance changes here. It's obviously just a bunch of nerfs to broken brawlers. So obviously we're going Surge here, as you can see. He's received a decent amount of impactful nerfs. So first of all, his unload speed has been nerfed. So you can basically spam out your shots less fast, as you can see. Look how much slower it is to spam out 3 shots now. This is obviously a massive nerf to him, and I can actually foresee him kind of dropping off because of this. And then the next one, I couldn't show it right there, but his gadget shield, now instead of giving you 2 ammo, it only gives you 1 ammo. So once again, that's another massive nerf to Surge. So I'm gonna be honest, I've faced Surge in ranked and trying him out here. He definitely doesn't feel as good anymore. Let's hop into another game of Surge here, because that was pretty quick. But yeah, the fact that you can't just jump onto someone and then spam out 3 ammo really quickly now, as well as, having less ammo from this gadget, it's honestly a really big nerf to Surge. I mean, obviously, there's still some things that are strong about him, right? Like his hypercharge Buffy, for example. They haven't touched that. That's still really strong. But it's just the fact that overall he's a lot worse now. So it's going to be actually harder for him to even get to his hypercharge and stuff. And to be honest, I actually think Surge is definitely dropping out of the S tier now. I'm going to be honest. You may not think it. You may still think that he's good. But I'm going to be honest. After just trying him out a bit, and I've faced him in ranked as well, he just doesn't feel like he's doing all that much anymore. I think mainly because of this thing where he's only getting 1 ammo back from the gadget now. They might have been a bit harsh on Surge with the nerfs, to be honest, because these are actually 2 major nerfs to his base kit rather than the buffies. And obviously before buffies, Surge was an F tier brawler. So I think they might have been a bit too harsh on Surge with these nerfs. I mean, I'm happy that he's nerfed, right? But I do think that they should be nerfing, mainly the buffies of a brawler. But, that's Surge. He was just way too broken that they had to just nerf his base kit, I mean, look, we still popped off there. But, yeah, Surge, I definitely don't think he's the best brawler in the game anymore. That's for sure. Alright, next up, Star Nova is receiving a ton of nerfs. Well, she's received a ton of nerfs. They've nerfed her reload speed. Her health has been nerfed as well, which I think is just reverting a buff that they previously did. Which I'm not even sure why they buffed that in the first place. But, okay, what is going on here? Why are these enemies just spinning? But yeah. And then she's also received a nerf to her star power, the one that increases the damage with each attack in the sword form, has gone from 5% increase to 4%, and now caps at a lower amount as well. So, these are some pretty nice nerfs to Star Nova, but to be honest, I actually don't foresee her dropping off all that much. I think she just still just does a lot of damage in this sword form. Her basic attack in the regular form, I think, is still the main issue, which I guess they kind of tried to address with the reload speed nerf. But I think fundamentally, this attack is just very broken because, as soon as someone's in range, you just press auto-aim and it's guaranteed to hit them. So, and then you've also still got other broken things about her that haven't really been touched, like her hypercharge, for example, is still, a insanely broken hypercharge. And, they haven't nerfed that whatsoever. So, oh yeah, they also nerfed this gadget. This floaty gadget now has less HP, but I'm gonna be honest, that nerf basically does nothing. So, yeah. Because, I mean, most of the time you're not using it just to keep it in a place for a long time. You're using it just to you dash in, then you use a gadget to dodge some shots, and the nerf doesn't really impact that at all. So yeah, I think Star Nova definitely still going to be S tier after these nerfs. I actually foresee her being probably the #1 or #2 brawler in the game right now, even with these nerfs. So I mean, obviously Surge ain't the #1 brawler in the game anymore. So I either foresee Star Nova or Max being the #1 brawler in the game right now. Speaking of Max, Max has also received some nerfs, but yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about Max because those nerfs are basically nothing. Max is not going to be affected at all. Max will still be completely broken. Alright, so this next brawler, Damian, has been hit very, very hard with the nerfs. Mainly in damage. Basically, they've nerfed like every possible form of damage for this brawler here. So his basic attack, third combo attack, has had a damage nerf from 2000 to 1600. So that's quite a big nerf there. And then his explosion damage, so the chain reaction explosion there, has been nerfed from... it's gone from 1000 to only 800. So that's very minuscule damage now with that. And then also his speaker damage, as you can see there, has also been nerfed down to 800. So they've heavily nerfed a lot of the damage here with Damian. But yeah, Damian is just obviously, he's not going to be packing that punch that he previously did now, since he's very lacking in damage. He's going to actually probably really struggle against other tanks now, because he just doesn't really have the damage to kill them. And they have actually given him another nerf as well. His speakers from his super, they decreased the health of those, so those are like easier to break now, which I think that's a good nerf to him. So yeah, but you may think now that Damian's going to probably drop off after all these nerfs, but to be truly honest, I actually foresee Damian still being like minimum A tier, to be honest. I just think his super is fundamentally so strong that even with these nerfs, he'll probably remain, you know, low S, high A tier. Like, you know, this brawler, it's just crazy how fundamentally strong. This might be like the strongest brawler fundamentally that they've ever released, I can't lie. Like, it's just crazy. Like, the actual mechanic of the super, I think, is just too strong, and they need to nerf that in some way. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Damian completely falls off. Who knows? I mean, you know, he probably won't just be a brawler you can pick anywhere now. Like, you'll have to be a bit more careful when picking him. Like, you probably can't just early pick him everywhere now. Especially in, like, open maps. Like, previously you could just play him in, like, open maps and still just destroy everything, right? But, now you'll have to be a bit more careful when picking him. But, yeah, he's definitely still going to be strong. He's definitely not weak by any means. I mean, you can just see from the gameplay here, you know, that he's still just slaughtering people. Like, this brawler is still just good, you know. So, yeah. I mean, Damian, you know, he'll drop a little bit, but don't expect him to fall out of the meta anytime soon if he doesn't get any more nerfs. Right, so this next nerf is kind of like an interesting one, you know. Like, some people saying it's a buff, you know, some people saying it's a nerf. It's with Griff, his star power now. Obviously, they previously buffed it and it became completely broken. So now they've increased the spread of the attack. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So now, obviously, his attack's wider, so it's easier to hit, but it means from far range, you're going to be hitting less projectiles. So, obviously, you're dealing less damage from far range, but your attack's easier to hit. So, honestly, I'm honestly not too sure whether this is really going to make him worse or not. Because, to be honest, I tried him in ranked before recording this, and I won. He still felt pretty strong, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm not too sure about this one, guys. I feel like it's maybe not going to impact him as much as I thought, to be honest. So, and then they've also nerfed his piggy bank as well. So the explosion radius on the piggy bank is a lot smaller now. Which, yeah, that was definitely a needed nerf, to be honest. I'm glad they did that. But obviously, you know, with Griff, like, he's still got, you know, a crazy broken hypercharge, like one of the best in the game. You know, and, you know, the attack's just easier to hit now. So even if you're doing less damage, I'm going to be honest, I feel like he feels a little stronger, if anything, with this. But, and obviously, you know, at close range, it's not like the damage is nerfed at close range. At close range, he's still going to do just as much damage as before. So it's just like making the attack easier to hit at far range, to be honest. So, you know, I feel like this is actually kind of not bad for Griff, you know? So, yeah. I mean, obviously the wall break is a fair nerf, you know? That's definitely made him, you know, not as good at opening up the map. But overall, I don't think Griff's going to drop off really all that much. I actually still foresee Griff being S tier, to be honest. Okay, and now the nerfs I'm happiest with here is actually the Crow nerfs. Finally, they're nerfing Crow. So they're nerfing his damage. I'm not sure how much of a damage nerf it is. I don't remember. Okay, why are we facing bots right now? I don't know why we're facing bots, but yeah. So he's getting a damage nerf, and then also they've nerfed his slowing toxin damage as well to, I believe, 1,200 is what it does now, whereas previously I think it was 1.8k. So that's actually a big nerf to the damage of that gadget. I mean, it was a much needed nerf, you know, like Crow could literally just run up into someone's face, you know, spam auto aim, press this gadget, and he'd burst anyone down so insanely fast, which, you know, obviously a brawler like Crow shouldn't be able to do that. So, you know, the fact that he could, it was just clearly a sign that he was just doing way too much damage. So, you know, these damage nerfs definitely were needed for Crow. Now, how do I actually feel about how he is now after these nerfs? I'm going to be honest. I think they've finally done it. I think Crow is finally going to drop out of S tier. Also, nice goal for my shade there. But, yeah, I think Crow is finally going to drop out of S tier, guys. Because, you know, damage is kind of an important thing in the meta right now. And, you know, obviously he had all those nerfs previously. The only reason he didn't really fall off from that was because they also buffed his damage alongside that. Oh, seriously, I didn't score that. But now, you know, that his damage is getting nerfed. His slowing toxin damage is getting nerfed. He's going to struggle a lot more to actually get kills. I mean, he's not going to be an awful brawler by any means, you know. I don't think Crow can ever really be an awful brawler. Because fundamentally, you know, just the poison, you know, the anti-heal and stuff. It's fundamentally good, you know. But I honestly don't think Crow will be S tier anymore. I foresee Crow honestly dropping down probably to like B tier, honestly. I mean, maybe he could still be A, but to be honest, I actually feel like he's down in the B tier now after these nerfs, which I'm very happy about. So yeah, that's Crow. Definitely going to be a lot worse after these nerfs. Alright, and then real quickly, I'm going to talk about these other few very quickly. Max, I believe I mentioned Max a little bit already. But yeah, she's got like 2 nerfs that really aren't going to impact her. She's still S tier. Max is probably, you know, top 2 brawler in the game right now. And then Bolt's received a couple nerfs as well. These nerfs, I mean, the shield one's pretty nice, you know. It'll impact Bolt a little bit. He probably won't be an early pick anymore. Probably only a last pick now. Which, I mean, yeah, that's pretty nice. Honestly, Bolt was a very annoying brawler in the meta, so I'm glad he got some nerfs. And then 8-bit. 8-bit, they definitely did not hit hard enough with the nerfs here. These are like very minuscule nerfs to 8-bit, you know, like 3-second cooldown on the extra credits, like that's just doing nothing. You know, the super charge rate one's kind of nice, but then like the buffies of the plugged in, like 15% to 10%, it's a little helpful, I guess, but it's not that big of a nerf really. So I think 8-bit is still, you know, very strong. 8-bit's clearly still an S tier brawler after this. So yeah, and just with other S tier brawlers, you know, around him getting nerfed, it's only going to help 8-bit really. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.